Hey guys, good morning. Today I'm just going to get into this. It's really a crazy good day for me. It just seems like things have changed, and I'll tell you why. I'm real excited. I appreciate you guys following along. I may go long today, and to be honest with you, I don't care. I've got things I want to say. I feel like I need to say, and if you want to listen, you're welcome to. If not, I get it. So if this is two, three, four parts on YouTube, I don't care. It won't be that long though. But I'm just gonna get into it today. I want to talk about friendships and friendship. Um, you know, f- Friendships. I've had not a lot of them. I believe I know a lot of people that have a lot of friends, and I don't. And I base my life upon something I call not I call, but I base it upon respect. Right? I can like a lot of people, but I respect very few, and it's not any fault of theirs. Maybe I don't get close enough to them to see the opportunity, but it's not something I give away. I've taught my kids since they were young what's more important than money, respect. What's more important than toys, respect. They've forgotten that from time to time. I've forgotten that from time to time. We get wrapped a little bit, but why friends to me are almost as important as family. You can't choose family. You get your family. You choose friends. It's a privilege for somebody to call you a friend and for you to call them a friend. It really is a privilege. Friends are people who they'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And conversely, a friend is somebody that you will actually hear what they're saying, whether you agree or not, without getting defensive, without right fighting. A friend can tell you something, and it will mean something more to you than if a stranger or a doctor or somebody else comes up and says it to you. Um, Friends are people that you let see your brokenness, your flaws, your warts, your whatever. Um, we go about society creating this public facade that we want people to see and to believe. And one of the things that came about last night, and I've got to come clean with as I point the thumb at myself, is, I'm probably about as big a fraud as has ever existed. It doesn't make me a bad guy. It's not anything egregious, but I've always held myself. If you ask people, I'm 6'4". I try to carry myself in a way that shows an air of confidence about me. That um, I guess just like many people, I try to put off an image that I'm a certain person, and inside, I'm not that person. I don't want to say insecure, but maybe there is some truth in that. Um, but I'm not the most confident guy in the world, although you'd never know that. And friends last night helped me see that. So this whole ordeal for me, not ordeal, but this whole journey has been really emotional. It's been right now. It's been a lot about me because I don't have those relationships that I'm developing. Those last nights. If I had a GoPro on my shoulder last night, you guys would just it would blow up about what a journey this is going to be. But I didn't have that, so we're still here talking about me until I leave 2 weeks from yesterday. But I am as excited as I've ever been for that. Let me tell you a little bit about yesterday. So I was uh, I was having a rough couple of days, and as you can tell by myself on these things, I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I'm emotional. I'm not always that way, but I've been talking about some heavy stuff, and I've been facing 50 years of life and trying to come clean with myself that maybe I hadn't done before, um, or that I didn't want to acknowledge. I acknowledged it and tucked it away. And I had a rough couple of days. There's no doubt that one of the impetuses for, is that the word, impetuses? Impetuses? Anyway, is something of a, I don't know what the word you want to use, tumultuous, toxic, loving, just a relationship that I'd been in that had, been a roller coaster, and coming to terms with that, um, has been something, and friendship goes to that. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I was down for a couple of days. Those of you that know me might have seen it. You might see the difference today in the tone of my voice and my mannerisms versus several days recently. So I had trying to reach out to some friends and people that have meant a lot to me before I go on this journey. Some I haven't seen in a long time. Some I've talked about. Some I've reached out to, and I'm including you guys in that because again, I want to be as transparent as I can be on this journey. I'm not trying to uh, sermonize. I'm not trying to tell people to do what try to tell them what's right. I'm just being me, and I think that's some of the appeal to folks is that I'm giving a voice to folks just like everyday folks. So anyway, had a tough, rough couple of days, and I had been reaching out to a friend of mine I've known 15 years, and she said, "Yeah, come on." She lives 2 hours from me or so, and said, "Yeah, I'd love to see you before you go." So I made plans last night to get the kids with their mom and go up and see my friend Andrea. Like I said, I've known her 15 times. I might have only seen her, or hung out with her 20 times in that period of time, but yet we still talk. We still bump heads once in a while. You know, Andrea, you're a little pig-headed sometimes. Anyway, but we are friends, and we have great respect for each other. Um, so last night we made plans, and I was on my way up there, and it was a crazy day for a few reasons. There was some more emotional stuff in the daytime. Everything seems to be overwhelming and taking just a lot of time. For example, I was on the phone with PayPal yesterday for 2 hours trying to get this issue with the shirt ordering right. And I can go into detail about that. Maybe I'll just put a blog on my Facebook and let you know what's going on with that. And nothing got resolved. But that's 2 hours out of my day trying to get the kids, get them lunch, get this, get the lawns mowed, get everything tied up in this trip. And so it's a little bit, it can be a little bit draining at times. Anyway, I was on my way up to see Andrea. And the first thing that happened was on the journey. I really do a lot of deep thinking when I drive and now when I walk. And something came to me, something of a vision of what this is going to become. And I believe it as strongly as I believed it when I told my friend Adam, "Hey, I've got to talk to you. I've got something big." And you know, this is a pretty big commitment. Hey, I'm going to walk 3,000 miles across the country and talk to strangers and rely upon their kindness, right? That's a little bit go big or go home, I guess. You know, and talking about friendships, one of the great things about Adam, who is a dear friend, is not for a second did he rain on my parade. Not for a second did he doubt me. Did he have some questions? Absolutely. Did he say, "Hey, you know what? You know, you sure you plan this thing out?" He was my friend first, but he was my friend, and that's what friends do. Sometimes family is too close to the situation to be your friend, and I'm experiencing some of that too, probably. I think, and last night brought that to light as I do all this thinking. But anyway, so stay tuned, guys. This is going to be I'm gonna share this vision I had down the road, but I promise you to stay tuned and get on board with me. This is going to be a really fun ride. It's going to be a really eye-opening adventure. I'm going to live it firsthand. I want you to live it with me and through me. And I really think that this vision is going to happen as much as this journey is going to happen. So that happened on the way up there. So that was already a changing of the guard. My mindset was coming off of the angst and the anxiety and the pain, and I started to focus and channel towards something positive. So I got up towards Bethlehem, PA, or I don't know, Allentown, PA, Bethlehem, and I got there a little bit early. I stopped at Walmart, had a couple of things to pick up at Walmart. One of the things I picked up was this little stand the camera's on right now, so I don't have to sit there and hold the camera and feel awkward in front of it. I can kind of be a little bit more myself. And I got there, and I was still a little bit early, and I was driving around a little town looking to just go to find a mini mart to pick up a soda, a pop if you're from a different part of the country. And there was an ice cream stand out there, and it was just lined up with people. And one of the most pleasant experiences I've had thus far, and I talked about it previously, was we have in Pennsylvania something called Rita's Water Ice, greatest stuff in the world. In the summer, people lined up, and I went out and I talked to a few people, and I met my first strangers that day. And you know, you might have seen a picture of Brinley and her mom and her aunt and her brother. And you know, I said, look, I can just sit here and play on my phone or look at some sports scores. Or I got out of the car and I went up and I introduced myself to folks. I have flyers, I have little business cards. I started to pass them out, explaining what I was doing. And again, such a positive response. Will everybody join on board? Only one person looked at me like I was from another planet. But the rest of the folks, it was such a nice thing. And then it was time for me to go meet Andrea. So before I tell you about getting together with her and meeting her and her sister, and that's like really going to tell you about her sister. Yeah, and I'm coming at you here a little bit today. Um, Andrea and I have known each other 15 years or plus, and I think one of the things that has kept us friends, even though as you get older you don't talk to your friends every day, is we have such a tremendous respect for each other. And again, if you've heard me from the past, I can just get the slightest little thing and it just triggers not one, not two, but 10, 12 memories. And then I don't just remember them, hey, where were we? What did we do? I relive these things. And it's such a great thing when it's a positive. And last night was a positive. And if I seem hyped, I apologize. That's, again, I'm wearing my emotions on my sleeve. So I met Andrea, what the hell I'm saying, Andrea. And when I had gotten divorced, I'd met her before, I got divorced, but I bought a house. I was in much the same place that I was in. I had gotten divorced, bought a little condo in a really just not a great place, but it was quick, it was cheap, and it was painless, so I got it. And when I was married, my wife and I had this property that we bought in this beautiful resort. Ski slopes, golf course, lakes, deer, bear, just beautiful. It's my heaven on earth. And if any of you know my regular general email, you'll know where this place is, and I don't mind giving it some props. It's a place called Eagle Rock Resort in Hazleton, Pennsylvania. And I bought it because I'd always dreamed of being a dad, and I always envisioned, bringing my kids up there to go skiing or golfing and just get away. It's 2.5 hours from home, and it was my heaven on earth. And I was in this place where I had people that were just not good people, running an agenda, looking for trouble, so one day I drove up there to get away, and I said, you know what, the hell with it. I saw a little house at the bottom of the mountain, and I bought it, and it became my little heaven on earth. Well, one of the things I remember was, again, if you recall, I had 4 miscarriages in my lifetime, and at this point I think I'd only had 2, and Andrea was divorced. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I believe like 17 years later, her and her husband still haven't got divorced yet, but they raised their kids in a great way. And anyway, so I invited her and the kids up to the lake to come by. And I knew her, but I hadn't really known her in a way that was so, where I got to see firsthand and things like that. She was such an amazing mom, the way she handled her children. Not that she handled, she just was so natural. Wanting to be a parent, I had so much respect for her. The way that she treated her children, the way that she cared about them, the way that she loved them, the way that she engaged with them. That's another thing. So many times, just take a lake, for example. The parents let the kids go off and do their thing. She was involved with them. She was. I remember there was a platform out in the middle of the lake where kids would jump. She'd swim out there with them and jump off, and so much respect that day for her, and it really solidified, my friendship for her. Anyway, that was one of the memories. I digress. So let's fast forward to going to see Andrea today, like last night. She about a year or so ago, year and a half or so ago, she reached out to me and was having some health issues. I won't give her age away, she might get mad about that, but she's not an old woman by any means, and she's battling cancer and testing and things like that. And one of the hardest things for somebody like me, who tends to be a nurturer and a carer, is you want to, you want to ask and inquire. You want to be there when you can, or at least offer to be there. And sometimes you can't. So I really wasn't caught up on details. I tried to talk to her about it, but I don't want to harp on it when we speak. So I didn't know if she's on the way out, she's still undergoing, where we are with that. So anyway, so I get finally stopped by the ice cream shop time's right for me to go meet Andrea. And she's there with her sister Ann. Now,